You 100% get to choose how you think and feel about your trading. Hey traders, this is Taylor with the Trader's Brain. And the last time that we talked about mindset work, we were talking about emotions. In fact, the last two videos were about emotions. The first video I did was about how emotions are our fuel to take action. It's a very important principle in trading. We want to make sure that we can channel the right emotion to trade consistently. And then the other video was about how we can respond to emotions. There's 4 ways that we respond to emotions. We can resist emotions, we can react to them, we can avoid them, or we can process them. Now, today what we're going to talk about is we're going to talk about the source of our emotions. Where do emotions come from? And to help me out today, I'm actually going to pull from Reddit. I love Reddit. It is my rabbit hole that I like to go down. So I was on Reddit in one of the trading threads, and there was a user that posted a question. And here's what he had to say. I had a $2,000 loss and my portfolio looks way smaller and I feel demotivated. How do you guys recover from losses and not give up? Now, one of the beautiful things about Reddit are actually in the comments. It's one of my favorite parts about Reddit is reading the comments. We had a few interesting comments and recommendations from people about that question. How do you recover from losses and not give up? Let's hear about some of them. So here's what they said. So one user wrote back and said, alcohol. Another, don't sell. And then there's, bro, just trade smaller. And another, cry. And then, of course, this one, find a normal day job. But here's my favorite. In Finland, you cry and drink vodka, promise never again, and then do it again. So those are some of my favorites. Now, there's also some good advice on Reddit, and there's some actually good advice in this particular thread. So some really good traders, one of them said, hey, take some time to let your emotions settle. And I love that. That's about processing your emotions. And another trader suggested, treat it as an opportunity to learn. That's a great one. And then finally, this one, take a deep introspective look at why you lost money. I love that. Those are great responses to that strong emotion that he was feeling. So let me ask you this question. Why was this user equivalent mobile 227, feeling demotivated? Why do you think that they were feeling demotivated? Well, a lot of us would answer that it was because they lost $2,000. That's actually not the reason. Booking a $2,000 loss is merely the circumstance. It's the fact that occurred. It's just the thing that happened. What's happening here is that this user has a thought about the $2,000 loss that is creating that particular emotion of feeling demotivated. The thought might be something like, I'm never going to make it as a trader, or I'm going to run out of money before I succeed in being consistent. We don't really know because the trader doesn't tell us what they were thinking at the time they were feeling that. Now, one problem that we have as humans is that we want to blame how we feel on our circumstances. I'm angry because that jerk in the car ahead cut me off. Or I'm sad because my wife yelled at me this morning. It feels good to put the burden of how we feel on other people or random events. But when you really think about it, is that a good thing? Doing that means we give the power of how we feel to someone or something else. That sounds to me like a very disempowering place to be. The truth is, circumstances do not create our feelings. If they did, then everyone would be affected by some random event that happened. When that trader lost $2,000, if that event in itself created a feeling of demotivation, wouldn't all of us have felt that same feeling as well? Circumstances do not create our emotions. I cannot stress it enough. It is our thoughts about a circumstance that creates our emotions. Now let me show you how this works. Let's go back to the circumstance. Trader books a $2,000 loss. Well, what are some of the possible thoughts one could have about this fact? How about these? And remember, I'm not suggesting that these are things you should think, but what I want to do is have you think about what feelings these alternative thoughts might create. I'm grateful that I didn't lose more than that in this volatility. And what emotion do you think that creates? Or how about this trade is going to teach me a lot about my process? And then there's this thought, my wife is going to be ticked off that I lost so much money, right? So notice how these different statements create different emotions for us about the very same circumstance, the very same fact. Now, here's the secret I want all of you to remember. The thoughts we have about any circumstance is 100% optional. You heard me right. You 100% get to decide what you choose to think about a circumstance. Nobody is forcing you to accept a thought that comes to your mind about a fact in your life. The reality here is that whatever you're feeling about your trading experience, you are creating that feeling. And what's so great about this? Well, it means that you get to feel however you want to about anything that happens in your life, including trading. Now, how do you apply this? Well, simple. The next time you're feeling a strong emotion in your trading, try and pinpoint the thought that you're having that's creating the emotion. Don't try to change the thought. Just be aware of what it is. Take a moment and just recognize how your thinking is creating the emotional experience that you're having. This level of awareness is a critical first step in then creating the mindset that you want to have in order to be consistent. That's it for today. So remember, you 100% get to decide what you think and what you feel about any circumstance in your life and in your trading. And that can be powerful and enabling in helping you learn how to change the way that you think to produce the feelings that are going to create the consistent results that you want. Until next time, traders, happy trading.